Hello! We are streaming on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube right now. Dr. York Show, this is what we're testing right now of this, possibly a couple days a week, of a short 3 big segments, something in business, branding, and digital. We're talking about 3 things specifically in today's episode of Dr. York Show. So, get into it. Here we go. Number 1, Snapchat. What we've got going on Snapchat is this kind of move into the AR atmosphere. Now, I've told you before, and I'll say it again, that Snapchat as a social media site has no legs. No legs whatsoever. But their ability to use AR very well is really their bread and butter. The issue with Snapchat as a social media service is they have very healthy numbers from teenagers. In that teen population, they're actually pretty healthy. The issue is teens don't spend money. Typically what happens with social media like Instagram, even TikTok, is it starts with those teen individuals which don't spend money, but those teens get older, get a job, and then have money to spend, and then Instagram and TikTok and whatnot can then profit off of them. The issue with Snapchat is they can't do that. What's happening right now with data is showing us that those individuals are on Snapchat as a teenager, awesome, get the hook into them at that point, but they leave. They don't stay whatsoever. And this isn't a new issue. This has been an issue for quite some time. Snapchat is not a new up-and-coming social media at any point. So their future as a social media site just is not there. But here's where they are. The business opportunity for Snapchat is with their AR opportunities. And what they're doing right now is looking at their AR opportunities with eyeglassware. Looking at these spectacles. Now, this was something they had for quite some time. And there was these really goofy looking glasses that you could basically take snaps with. You could basically take these snap images and add to your story. But they're really leaning into, hey, let's build out our AR technology. And to tell you the truth, for someone to buy us. That's basically all it is, in my opinion. The building out where creators can now use Snapchat to start testing out and building ideas for this. This is very common. All technology kind of does this is, hey, here's some new hardware. Let's give it out to curators and creators so they can hopefully build some cool shit. And then we can then sell it, and then it becomes super popular. That's what Snapchat is doing right now with these spectacles and trying to kind of expand on that ability. To tell you the absolute truth, the only real future for Snapchat is to get bought by a big player, whether that be a full buyout or some sort of partnership opportunity. I tell you, that's it. Now, what I can see this really looking like is like Apple. What happens when Apple buys Snapchat? Whether that be 51% of them or 100% of them, whatever that case may be, that's now interesting. Simply because Apple would use their AR capabilities for their Apple Glass, which is supposed to come out 2022, could be pushed, but right now they're kind of eyeballing 2022. The truth is, I mean, this thing has no future. Cell phones, there's very little growth that can happen there. Glasses, eyewear, that's going to be the new game changer. Apple needs AR, I don't know, they need just gasoline on the augmented reality front. Buying Snapchat could be it. 100% could be it. So we're looking at that with Snapchat. I think it's a good call. I've been somewhat of a hater on Snapchat for quite some time. Not because of lack of innovation. I think they're killing it as far as like thinking outside the box, coming out with new things. But at the end of the day, Snapchat really is just the R&D department for Facebook. Facebook has the big guns. Facebook has the money behind them. They're just going to see what works well for Snapchat and then just copy that off. The business case there is just not strong. However, being bought out by a tech company that's willing to come in and say, here's your billions of dollars, and we're going to just scrap the social media side of things, that would be interesting. That right there would be super interesting. All right, so we're keeping an eye on those spectacles. Topic number 2. MGM. Now, if you're not following, MGM just got bought out. Bought out for $8 billion by Amazon. Amazon purchased MGM for $8 billion with a B. That's a big purchase. Big purchase. $8 billion on... There's obviously some questions out there on why MGM. They're not exactly the youthful spirit as before. This is the largest purchase Amazon has had since Whole Foods, since buying Whole Foods. So what's the play there for MGM? Now, some of the titles they have, just so we're all on the same page, their biggest title is James Bond. James Bond's their biggest title that they have, but even then, it's kind of a dual partnership ownership model there, so that's kind of weird. They've got Legally Blonde, they've got Rocky, Tomb Raider, Addams Family, Real Housewives. So I mean, they've got some IP there, which is interesting. But the idea that this is some short-term gain, that this is some short-term business buying opportunity is just not the case. It's not the case whatsoever because they don't have those. They don't have Orange is the New Black. MGM just doesn't have that whatsoever. Amazon coming in, spending this $8 billion is really looking at that flywheel model. And that's why I go out in class is why Amazon is so dominant. I think every single business is coming in trying, how can we be the Amazon of plumbing? Or how can we be the Amazon of higher ed? Or how can we be the Amazon of logistics or dentistry? How can we be the dentist office of Amazon? Basically what that means. A lot of people don't know what that means. They just say, oh, it's innovative and it has a lot of customers and it's digital, so we want to be that thing. They don't understand what that means. And the MGM buy should give you insight in what that means to be Amazon. It's having a flywheel model in the sense that you buy one thing on subscription service. So first of all, subscription service is gangster. Absolute gangster. If you are a business, you have to start thinking, how can I become a subscription service? There has to be an opportunity there, whether that be VIP upgrades, whether that be exclusive content, whatever the case may be. Subscription is definitely the way to go. But that's the first level. We know a lot of subscription services that just die off. There's a bunch of like clothing subscription services where you get a box of clothes every single month, and a lot of those die off. A lot of those are like fly-by-night sort of thing, buy a bunch of Facebook ads, they seem cool, and they're gone in a year. What Amazon has done and what they're looking at this MGM buy is the flywheel model where we get you into a subscription service, but then we give you free things on top of it from year to year. Next year, your subscription service is different than it was last year. Prime, Amazon Prime, used to just be free shipping. That's all it was. It was free shipping. That's what your subscription service got you. The subscription got you free Prime delivery. Next year, they got Amazon Music. Now we say, okay, we see you subscribing to Spotify and these other services. We're going to give it to you for free. Now, is Amazon Music as good as Spotify? No. But it's a service that you're usually paying for, and now you get it free, even if it is a B-level product, it's for free. The next year, you get free shows. You're on basically Netflix. Jack Ryan was the show. That was probably the most popular show at this point. But it's all Amazon. You don't pay extra for that. Like you're paying your Netflix subscription. Amazon says, don't worry about it. We got you covered. We got you, fam. Stay with us. We've got these shows. MGM fits into that wheelhouse and saying, stop going after Disney Plus and stop subscribing to Netflix and Hulu and all these other entertainment products. Get into Amazon, get into our wheelhouse. Now we've got MGM, we've got big titles. That's the thing, Disney Plus came in like a gangster out of the blocks. Disney Plus came in and said, hey, we see what's going over there at Netflix. Netflix has spent many years as the front runner of new ideas, creative ideas, storytelling, creating Stranger Things and Orange is the New Black, all of these like creative titles. Fantastic, go you. Disney Plus comes in and says, I see you, but have you heard of a little thing called Star Wars? Have you heard of a little thing called The Avengers? We're going to start creating shows like that. We're already tuned in. A lot of people are hitting up on Amazon this MGM deal. Not the case. Not the case whatsoever. They're basically buying what Disney Plus already has. And Disney Plus has already absolutely crushed their numbers as far as subscriptions. Amazon comes in and says, hey, we're going to add to our flywheel right now. We're adding to our flywheel with already known entities, already known IPs. What happens when, I'm sure there could be movies, but they say, we're going to make a James Bond show. Here's a show of James Bond. We're going to do a Creed. We're going to have a show about Creed. And it's going to be a weekly show. That's how you get people subscribed, get into that flywheel of returning as Prime members. Now, when that Prime membership goes up by $1 this year, who's going to complain? Who? No one. Because that $1 is much cheaper than that $10, $12 that you're spending over there on Netflix. We've got it. All that money you're spending on Disney Plus and Hulu, etc. We've got it over here. So MGM, the MGM buy for $8 billion. It's a big number. It's a big number for an old label, right? MGM is the new hot kid on the block, but it's a solid pickup. Thinking long term. That's how you become the Amazon of the dentist office, or the Amazon of the X organization. It's that flywheel. That flywheel, they hit it out of the park with that MGM buy. All right, topic number 3. Topic number 3 is Sidewalk. This one's a biggie. It's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy to begin with. Probably the creepiest topic of the 3 topics today on the show. But it's something interesting. It's something interesting if we can get past the creepy factor. All right. So this is basically what Sidewalk is. Let's take a look here. So Amazon Sidewalk, it's a feature through Amazon where basically you're going to share your bandwidth. And basically this week is the last week for you to opt out. After this week, you can't opt out anymore. So what Amazon Sidewalk is basically saying is, okay, your house has internet. You've got internet. The house next to you also has internet. However, they have so many smart home devices. Think of like a smart camera. They've got a smart home camera on the exterior of their house or a Ring doorbell, and the bandwidth is actually stronger at your house than their own house, right? Just because where the router is, no one really thinks about putting the router close to their doorbell of their house, right? So we've got bandwidth issues. Sidewalk comes in and says, your house, we're going to take 10% of your bandwidth at your house. We're going to encrypt it, and then we're going to offer that to your neighbors. So if you're not using it, right, they're not going to slow down your internet, right? So if you're not using it, which we're not typically using 100% of your bandwidth, if right now you are not using 100% of your bandwidth and your neighbor's device could benefit from a little bit more bandwidth, they're struggling right now to keep the cameras moving, we pull up to 10% of your bandwidth to your neighbor's house. That's what Sidewalk is. That's the idea. So this is a creepy factor. The creepy factor is, what are we doing here? Right? I'm sharing internet. How safe is this? Is this truly encrypted? Can they steal my information? They say it's encrypted, right? Amazon knows a lot more than I do about encryption, so I'll just tip my hat to them. But the idea is this sort of shared internet. I mean, this is the super first stage into a decentralized internet, basically. Obviously, right now it's not decentralized because Amazon is pushing it forward. But the idea and theory of a decentralized internet basically comes in and says, we don't need Amazon anymore. We just take Amazon out of the equation, and you still are able to share up to 10% of your internet, or share files, or save files, have blockchain initiatives, etc. I think Sidewalk is kind of an interesting conversation to at least dip your toes into this water of shared bandwidth, shared internet. It's kind of interesting. So there's 3 topics for today. 3 topics for today. We talked about AR capabilities with Snapchat. We talked about MGM buyout, the $8 billion through Amazon, and we talked about Amazon Sidewalk, kind of the sharing of Internet of Things, right? Let me know in the comments of this video, what's one thing that stands out to you, right? Is there one of these three that say, hey, that's kind of interesting, that's kind of creepy, that's a big win to buy MGM, I could see a James Bond show, would you watch one? I know I'm a James Bond fan. I'd totally sign up for a 16-week, 10-week James Bond show, or Creed, or I don't know, Legally Blonde. I haven't actually seen Legally Blonde, but I'm sure they'd make a great TV show. I'm probably still not going to watch it, but I could see myself watching some of the other things. Let me know in the comments what stands out to you. We're going to try this from time to time, right? These live, real quick. Try to keep it under 30 minutes. We're at 20 right now. Try to keep them sub 30 minutes. These kind of daily, every other day sort of shows. Kind of up to date on these new topics. If you want to, I'd like to test out a voice thread system of asking questions and I answer those questions via voice. We're going to set that up. We're going to figure out how to do that for next episode. So next episode, we'll figure that out. We've got our technicians working real hard on that. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Dr. Dustin York, Associate Professor at Maryville University in St. Louis, and here are 5 things you need to know to have a highly successful career in NFTs. Number 1, differentiate an NFT. An NFT is a non-fungible token. It's basically any media file that is unique and you own. So for example, a video file, a music file, an image file,